After a very long wait, we have finally played Final Fantasy VII Remake via an officially received review copy, and I will not mince words when I say that this game is a masterpiece. It was quite definitely worth all that wait and anticipation, and even with so many heavy-hitting titles launching or have launched this year, FF7 Remake is an absolutely strong contender for 2020 Game of the Year. So for this video, we're not doing a review of the game, although you can find the link to our full review in the description below. Feel free to go ahead and check out what score we gave it after watching the vid. Instead, we're going to put a spotlight on what the game gets right. The things that will make you gasp and squeal at regular intervals during gameplay as I have. And believe me, when I say the game gets it right, they definitely get it oh so right. Now, without further ado, my name is Rob from Ungeek, and these are 7 things in Final Fantasy VII Remake that make the game into a masterpiece. Oh, and also please beware of very mild spoilers for FF7 Remake. Rest assured, absolutely no major storylines will be mentioned in this video, but we understand if some of you may want a pure experience, so please let this serve as your spoiler warning. Got it? Let's go. Number 1, a fully fleshed out world. Back in the good old days of the OG FF7, technology was rather limited as compared to how they are today. And while the original game was already celebrated as the biggest graphical leap that the franchise had taken at that point, there's still only so much that you can do with polygons like these. Of course, we were more than happy to fill the gaps with our imagination, but given that FF7R, as its name suggests, is a remake, one of the things that people wanted to see was how Midgar would be presented in terms of today's graphical standards. Needless to say, FF7 Remake was able to deliver on this and more. My reactions ranged from high-pitched squeals of excitement to full-on screams of happy disbelief as I saw these beloved childhood locations shown in this glorious new perspective. Wall Market looked like an actual red light district. The slums are bustling with people. Eris's house is breathtaking in its natural simplicity. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. FF7R succeeds at making Midgar feel alive and lived in. But the game even goes further with this, which leads me to my next point. Number 2, superb NPC work. Part of what brings Midgar to life and is one of the first things that wowed me about this game was how robust NPC dialogue was. You see, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, a lot of NPCs have voice dialogues, and listening to them really gives you a whole new aspect of the story. You hear people terrified, upset, and angry over the bombing you did in the demo.
We head for the stations. Then we take the train to your sister's.
You hear people hit on Tifa while she shows you around town.
Tifa, baby, how you doing? Been waiting for you to... Wait, who's he?
You even have people celebrating your victories when you do great things. It makes the experience so rich as the world here is so very much alive, and you're there just mouth open impressed with how much voice work they've done to make this all come true. Number 3, much more meaningful character dynamics. FF7R also succeeds at fleshing out the dynamics between each major and minor character. Utilizing better graphics and voice acting, you get more nuances with how party members relate to Cloud, like subtle hints towards their intentions and motives. They can give you a little pause, they can wink, they can look to the side. These are the things that are present that add so much to the character. And these dynamics may have already existed and have been hinted at in the original game, but these were sometimes lost in context and translation. With this now, it helps you build this special connection with characters who'll be joining you in this long haul adventure. Where the game shines though is how it manages to make you care for even the minor characters. Because of how they're presented, minor characters like your party members in Avalanche, or even quest NPCs, or just those NPCs that are running around who have those voice lines, you feel a certain bond with these characters, and now you're very much invested in seeing them through and protecting them at all costs. Number 4, masterful music. The music in this game is just fantastic. While we've gotten a sample of this while playing the demo, hearing the various remade tracks from the original is just so good. The mood is always right, and there's always that sense of epic when you finally do hear the signature battle music. Each level and location has an appropriately matched theme, which also shifts into a more active and upbeat tune when battle finally begins. It's one of those things that makes you look forward to visiting new locales, since each one is given a stronger identity and mood as it's accompanied by its own theme. But if that's not enough and you find yourself wanting more music though, then no worries. The game actually lets you collect music tracks that you can find or buy, which you can play at any jukebox. Number 5, fun and rewarding battles. Battles. If you watched our past FF7R videos on YouTube, you'll know that this was something that I was actually really worried about. I was in constant fear that it would be very much like FF15, where you could get away with never switching off Noctis. So I am very happy to say that this was not the case. As I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I noticed that the characters I wasn't directly controlling charged their ATB bars really slowly. So to properly build everyone's gauges up, I had to balance attacking with switching to other characters, and then to proceed to use their spells and attacks in a coordinated fashion. At normal difficulty, which was the difficulty I played this in, battles were actually fun and rewarding, while a lot of regular mobs can be easily plowed through. The boss fights are quite worth the challenge. Take note, the bosses are never impossible, and the fight can be a piece of cake with the proper planning and loadout. But these fights can also be pretty intense, as bosses usually have a particular way to be taken down. You'll have to spend time learning the patterns of your enemies while trying to still charge your ATB. Major fights I encountered during this game were tough, but always felt so amazingly rewarding once conquered, as you figured out various strategies, when to go in, what to avoid, what kind of materia to use to defend yourself, or to at least mount a good offense. Number 6, an inspired equipment system. In my opinion, the materia system was always the best system ever used within the franchise. It allowed for many possibilities in making builds as you explore the world of FF7. In Final Fantasy VII Remake though, not only does the system make a comeback, but the experience of equipping weapons now makes use of a sphere grid system where you can improve each weapon as you level up. Let me explain further. Yes, weapons can still be bought in stores or found during your travels. However, more than just having different stats per weapons, there are two things you need to consider. First, each weapon comes with an innate skill that you can use as long as you have that weapon equipped. However, if you use the weapon skill enough times, you master that skill and it now becomes part of your arsenal even when you unequip the weapon. This means that you will definitely want to use every weapon you come across, even for just learning the skill. Second, each weapon will have SPs that accumulate as you level up. You can then upgrade your weapon in the main menu and assign them to add certain stats and features to your weapons via sphere grid. Each weapon will have its own unique sphere grid, and it is up to you to choose which spheres to activate, as the number of SP that you have is limited. This basically means that you can shape your weapons into how you want them to be. Want them to be an all-out physical attack? That's fine. Want them to be all-out magic? That's good as well. Balance? It's completely up to you. Be sure to explore this feature once you start playing it, as it is one of the most enjoyable Final Fantasy weapon systems out there. And finally, number 7, changes to the story. And before you say anything, I will not delve deep into this point for the sake of avoiding spoilers, but it is worth mentioning that Final Fantasy VII Remake has effectively addressed the initial worry of fans that the game might be too predictable for fans of the original games. Square successfully keeps the game interesting even for veterans of the franchise by making a few changes to story that further enrich the experience and or just take the story to absolutely different places all in all. It's been quite the roller coaster, and it's definitely something that will keep you glued to the story no matter how familiar you are with Final Fantasy VII lore. And that's the list. Final Fantasy Remake officially launches on April 10, and we have definitely enjoyed every single moment this game had to offer us. We hope that this video gave you a good idea of why we think this game is indeed a masterpiece and what to look forward to once you get your hands on the game. It's definitely something that was truly worth the wait. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. Till next time, keep on gaming.